My daughter is refusing to talk to me after I found out she has a boyfriend and has been drinking. She ran off with her boyfriend and cut off all contact with us, and I want her to come back and apologize. I have 4 kids with my wife, 3 sons and a daughter. Our sons were born when we were in our late 20s, but our daughter came very late, around when I was 40. I'd like to add that I love all of them equally and would never discriminate. My first son began his own business in another country and the others more or less followed his footsteps. My daughter turned 18 very recently and we were all very excited for her. She is the star child in our family, the one that never disappointed us. She even got a job in high school so she wouldn't have to ask us for money, something that none of our sons did. But the college that she applied for is too far for her to travel from home, so she would have to stay at the college. My wife has partial paralysis and has trouble moving on her own. So with me reaching the old age of 60, we need a lot of help around the house. Our daughter has been happily fulfilling our needs so far. But I'm worried that her choice of college is intentional and she just wants to stop taking care of us. The reason for that is her recent attitude. Last Friday, I asked her to take her mother to a doctor's appointment. She already has her license so this shouldn't have been a problem for her. However, she told me that she had plans and so we should reschedule the appointment. This was the first time anything like this had ever happened. I was reasonably mad at her, and told her you need to cancel your plans young lady, because your mother is your utmost priority. She made a face that said, "Are you kidding me?" She started complaining because it was one of her close friends' birthdays, and that it wasn't fair because her plans were made weeks in advance. I told her that it didn't matter, she should know her priorities better. After some more backhand. Fourth, I made her back off and she did what I had asked her to do, which was doing her daughterly duty. After she left, I told myself to calm down and that she is just going through her period. Me and my wife were already out of our prime when she was born, so we had to sacrifice a lot to take care of her. And we had raised our daughter with a goal in mind, that she would take care of us in return when we are older. I was certain that we had instilled good values in her. Things calmed down for a day or two, but then I received some horrific news over the weekend. Our daughter had gone to a party to make up for the birthday she had missed, and she had decided to have a drink with her so-called friends. I was very disappointed in her, as I had made it clear that she wasn't allowed to drink until she was 21. Even my wife couldn't believe her audacity to go directly against our teachings. I confronted her about it in the morning, and her reply was, if it's going to happen in college, might as well do it now. What's the difference anyway? I don't know where she got this attitude from, but I knew I had to shut it down fast. I told her that if drinking is what you're going to college for, then I won't let you go there. You showed me that you aren't ready for the real world by doing this. She looked at me like she had seen a ghost. You can't possibly not let me go to college, that is not happening. She argued that she was already an adult, and could make her own choices. So I told her, you are under this roof, meaning that you are under my rules. To show her that I was serious, I brought her college acceptance letter and tore it in half in front of her eyes. She broke down in tears. Why would you do that? What the hell is wrong with you? But actions have consequences and she has to deal with them. Instead of comforting her, I taunted her by saying, don't tell me you also have a boyfriend now. Maybe that's why you were so eager to drink, because he's been influencing you in a bad way. Then she called me a jerk and admitted that she indeed had a boyfriend. I was flabbergasted. Now I was certain that I had made the correct decision by punishing her. She wasn't listening to her caring and thoughtful parents, and her boyfriend probably only wanted her body. I told her what was on my mind, and she told me I had no idea what I was talking about. By that point, I was tired and was having trouble standing up. So I went to lay on my bed, ignoring whatever she was trying to say. I thought that she would come around, and realized that I was only doing what was best for her. But 1 week later, she disappeared from the house. She ran off with her boyfriend, and it's been 1 month, and I've had absolutely no contact with her. Edit, my wife has had infrequent contact with her. Edit 2, as long as my daughter is safe and sound I'm not going to interfere. It's her life and if she chooses so, she will have to learn the hard way in life. Daughter's perspective. For as long as I can remember, my parents have had unrealistic expectations from me. This is what pushed me to try to do well in school, and always try to please my parents. I always did my best to get the highest scores in tests, and even joined a club through which I got a job offer in high school. But once my brothers left the house, my parents began treating me like a live-in maid. I would get home tired, and yet I was supposed to do the dishes for the entire house before resting. If it was a weekend or a holiday, I was supposed to clean the house spotless. Notice how I said I was supposed to? That's because they acted like this was why they gave birth to me. I felt like I was born to do chores for them. Over time, this routine took a mental toll on me and nearly affected my grades. I tried telling them that this isn't fair. That just because my brothers are now independent, I shouldn't be expected to take care of the house by myself. My dad shut me down by saying, your mother is disabled so you need to help out as much as you can. And don't forget that you were born when we were past our prime, so we sacrificed a lot to raise you. You need to be more understanding and grateful. For the record, my mother is not disabled. She has a condition that makes her bones weaker than normal, but in no way does it limit her movement around the house. In fact, whenever there's a party, she is the first one on the dance floor and the last one to leave. Also, even if what my dad said was true, why couldn't he help me out himself? He wasn't working since my brothers were sending him money, so he had plenty of time. But no, they sat watching TV as I was ordered to keep doing what I'm supposed to do. Now, I put up with this because I was eventually going to move out and this would be how they'd remember me, the good daughter that never said no. But then one day I overheard my dad talking on the phone. He was describing what kind of future he wants me to have. I mean, she's going to go to college but then she'll have to settle down. I'm going to find a husband for her by the time she's 24 and have her live in our house. After hearing that, I realized that staying in this house any longer than I had to was going to destroy my life. I wasn't going to let my dad decide my future for me, so I chose a college that was too far for me to travel daily. Unfortunately, there was another incident that told me I needed to get out as soon as possible. A little after I turned 18, I was invited to my best friend's birthday party. I really wanted to go since it was her 18th birthday, and she had been there for my 18th. My parents knew about this, and assured me that I could go. But then, literally on the day of the party, as I was getting ready to leave, my dad tells me that I need to take my mother to a doctor's appointment. I was understandably confused, because they knew today was the day of the party, so why would they schedule the appointment at the same time? I told him that there's no way I'm going to the doctor's right now. And then he said some crap about my mother being my first priority. I mean, of course she is, but that doesn't mean that I have to abandon my plans every time she needs something. However, my father didn't want to listen to me and basically made it so that I couldn't leave the house at all unless I took my mother with me. Now, while I did as he asked, I was secretly starting to plan my escape. In the back of my mind, I knew that I was going to leave them in a way that they'd think I abandoned them. But I just couldn't take their abuse of power anymore. That weekend, I went over to my best friend's house to apologize for not showing up at the party, and told her I'd make up for it once I was free, and we would have a girls' night out. We hung out as more of our friends showed up, and she offered me a drink from the party. However, I refused as I wasn't old enough to drink, and didn't want to anger my parents. My brothers had been allowed to drink since they were 17, but I was told to wait till 21, and I didn't have a problem with it. I thought my dad would be proud of me, but as soon as he saw that my friend had posted pictures with alcohol in them, he completely blew up on me. He accused me of being a rebellious girl and didn't even give me a chance to explain. So in my spite, I said that if it's going to happen in college, might as well do it now. What's the difference anyway? It was only an example that I made while trying to point out his hypocrisy. But then he did something I would have never imagined. He said that I wasn't allowed to go to college anymore and tore my acceptance/scholarship letter in front of my eyes. I hadn't made any copies, so I was really angry but also very sad that my own father would do such a thing. I just fell to my knees while crying, trying to pick up the torn pieces. I think my dad said something about me having a boyfriend, but I was too busy crying to pay attention. Once he left, I immediately packed my bags. I couldn't stay in this house anymore or I would lose my mind. I went to a friend's house and contacted the college administration to try and explain the situation. Thankfully, they were very understanding. I've been staying here for over a month now, and have no plans on returning ever again until they apologize for everything.